So day 13 was a very lazy day, not a lot happened. And then day 14, we started today off in York for breakfast at the Refectory, which is a new restaurant that used to be held, I think, where the choir used to practice for the York Minster, but don't quote me on that. Then I went for a quick mooch around York to buy a few little purchases, and then it was off back to Vanessa's to get organized to go to Skipton. So there's day 13 and 14. And then day 15, we went to see Janet. It was her 89th birthday today, and wouldn't you believe it, she had cake sitting there waiting for us as if she knew we were coming. And then when we left there, we went to Harewood House. So I'll chat about Harewood House in a second. And then finally, it was our arrival in Thorpe this evening at the Manor House with a spot of drone flying. You also need to address the elephant in the room. You will notice that my headers are different, the end of the video is different, and the introduction to all of the houses will be different, probably from now on, or at least until the end of the trip, until I get my hands back on my Corel Video Studio software. I had a bit of a malfunction, the laptop ceased to work, so we are making the best out of a bad situation, and using a program I downloaded on the spur of the moment, which was far too expensive and requires a monthly subscription of $13 a month or something to maintain it, and was an initial outlay of like $50. I'm very upset by this. Anyways, enjoy the modified versions of the rest of the English adventure, and I do apologize in advance. And I'll be back to normal once I get home and reinstall the software. I'm really disgruntled. Anyways, good night. House. The estate was created by merging two adjacent estates, the Harewood Castle Estate and the Gawthorpe Estate. The combined properties went from the Wentworths of Gawthorpe to a London merchant, Sir John Cutler, when he purchased the property in 1696. After his death, it passed to the Boulter family and was finally sold to the Lascelles family in 1721. Henry Lascelles in the late 17th century had plantations in the West Indies, and the income generated there was enough to purchase the estate in 1738. His son Edwin became the first Baronet Harewood. and was a wealthy plantation owner who built the current house between 1759 and 1771, or is it 1765? Anyways, to replace Gawthorpe Hall. Edwin employed the architect John Carr, who we are quite familiar with, to design their new country house. Foundations were laid in 1759, and the house was mostly complete. The exterior of the house was mostly complete by 1765. Robert Adam then submitted designs for the interiors, which were approved in 1765, and he got to work. The house remained largely untouched until the 1840s, when Sir Charles Barry was employed by the 3rd Earl of Harewood, who had 13 children, to increase the accommodations of the house. Barry had added a second story to each wing to provide extra bedrooms for all of these kids. He also removed the south portico and created formal parterres and terraces along the back. In 1922, Harry Lascelles, Viscount Lascelles, married Princess Mary, the only daughter of George V, who lived nearby at Goldsborough Hall, and they moved permanently into the house in 1929. During the Second World War, the house was a convalescent hospital, and in the 1940s, the Princess Royal and her family had moved permanently back to Harewood. Enjoy Harewood.